throughout my life. You are the rock. It gives comfort. I just pray that, Lord, now that you will speak through me, that's not my word, but your word, that your spirit will move this church to really do your work for your kingdom and your glory. We pray this in your Son, Jesus' name.
Amen.
Okay. First slide. Yeah. Christians grow. We all like to grow, and I think a lot of excuses for not evangelism is I'm not mature. I did that, so I know. So if you have tried to do Christian growth, or you did master life, experiencing God, development-driven life, you always aim at growing yourself so you can be a good witness. But you will find out one thing. At the end of them, we talk about go on mission with God. Each book, they'll do that. Why? Right there, it's Bible's teaching. So now when I think about Christian growth for myself, I read the Bible. I did all three books. But now I realize, to continue to grow, I read the Bible. And I read devotional books. I'm not saying book is bad. Book is good. Okay? So, if you want to learn how to evangelize, read the book. And evangelism, this Pastor Liang give you a definition. This one is non-Christian. It's straight from the online Bible, online dictionary. It says, the spreading of the Christian gospel by public preaching or personal witness. That's I don't know which online dictionary I was using, but that's a definition. But after sharing the good news, there is a difference between local evangelism and mission. Because we do, whether you are mission or do local evangelism, you are sharing the good news. So at the end of sharing local evangelism, you bring the person to a church. You want to bring him to a church so he can grow and develop. For missions, after you share the good news, you gather the believers and you set up the church. Because most of the time for mission, as I said there, also has the sent and cross-cultural element. Very often you go on mission, go to a place where there is no church. So in mission, evangelism, you do the same thing. You do more with mission. You have to do a little bit more work. Okay? So far so good? So, this is the, declare His glory is the theme of Urbana 76. That's the only Urbana I went. And that's the key verse in that conference. And you notice I gave you two references. Because these two words are exact same wording. I compared them word for word. Psalm 93 was not quite, 96 was not quite sure who wrote and why they wrote this psalm. But much of Psalm 96 is in 1 Chronicles 16:24. They have the exact same wording. And the context for 1 Chronicles 16 is when David was bringing the ark to Jerusalem into the tent. He was dedicating the ark to dedicating this occasion to God. And one of the songs they sang is, declare His glory among the nations, His marvelous deeds among all people. So very early on in Jewish life, they realized they have to evangelize. Their purpose that called these children special people is not to keep the God to themselves. They have to declare His glory among the nations and to all people. And of course, if you read the book in the biblical perspective will tell you that God actually was having this evangelism in mind way before David. In Genesis 12:3, when God made a promise to Abraham, He said, I will bless those who bless you, and whoever curses you, I will curse, and all people on earth will be blessed through you. So God was already thinking about evangelism when He called Abraham. In other words, as Christians, we are all called to evangelize. We have no excuse. That's always God's intention for calling us to be Christians. Okay? So, when Jesus came, Jesus gave us a more strategic plan, besides just declaring God's glory. But he wants us to say, come and say, all authority is given to me. Go and make disciples of all nations. Baptize them in the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, and teaching them to obey everything I have commanded you. Jesus gave us a very specific tasks, what to do when we declare his glory. Just telling is not enough. There are more to do when you evangelize, because sharing the good news is only the first step. There are more to follow. And also, Jesus didn't just tell us only one time. In all the Gospels, if you look at the end, there's a sending verse. Even in Acts chapter 1:8, when Jesus, before his ascension, he again called disciples, go, be my witness to the end of the earth. But Jesus always wanted each one of us to participate in this Great Commission. He never kind of said, no, Great Commission is for pastors, for elders, for church leaders. He said to all disciples, go and make disciples of all nations. That's Jesus' command for us. So as Christians, we all should be part of it. Not all of us will go, but we all can be participating in some way. Actually, if you look at this verse again, and look at the verbs. The four verbs are go, make disciples, baptize, and teach, to obey. And you know what happens when you teach them to obey? What they will do? They will go and make disciples, baptize, and teach. So when you are really trying to share the gospel, be evangelizing, to do a Great Commission, you will do all three things. And your goal is to train the people until they start to go. That's why our Dawn Covenant says that we will start when the Dawn Church start to go. That's when we know we did our job, when they start to go. Okay? So that's why Jesus is asking us to all make disciples of all nations. And also I want to talk about church, because church, in the Greek word ecclesia, is not about a building. It's about gathering of believers. And the root of that Greek word, ecclesia, is from the Hebrew word that we translate as synagogue. Because all the time, God wants to gather his people to do his work. God is not asking us to have a building, have a good time, worshiping me. That's not God's intention. So today, when you look into China, you kind of see that this government is destroying the church building, taking down the cross. You feel that they are doing harm to church. But the true believers are still gathering, because they know the church is not about a building, it's about people. So, gather a group to worship and learn is what our job. Because the important thing is, the church is always a sending basis for mission. So it's only when the church are evangelizing, church will send. So evangelize is the blood life of a church. If church doesn't evangelize, the church will not grow. That's the way. So if you want to grow the church, we evangelize. Okay, so the next one I want to talk about the changing world, because if you think about the world, because when you evangelize, you have to go into the world. You cannot evangelize in the church, right? So the world is always changing. So if you think about it, William Carey's world is very different from Jesus' world. And for those who don't know who William Carey is, he's the father of modern mission movement. It's the end of the 18th century. And then the first Lausanne Congress world is very different from William Carey's work. And if you don't know what the significance of the first Lausanne Congress, that's where the Adopt the People movement is being pushed. Okay? So when we adopt the Dawns, we are responding to God's call from the first Lausanne Covenant to adopt the people. because we see God is working in the world that way, so we responded as a church to adopt the people. That's how we did it. But then you look to today's world, it's very different from the world of the first Congress, because today's world has changed again. Because God is always moving, God is always doing new things. We are His followers, we are supposed to follow. So how the world has changed, these are some data, I'll just read them out because I'm not black and white. The world is getting more urbanized. In 2017, 55% of the people live in the urban area, and only 1/3 are Christians. So the city evangelism is very important. In 1900, there are twice as many Christians living in Europe as in the rest of the world combined. In 2017, there are more Christians living in Africa and Latin America. So the Christian landscape is changing also. And by 2050, Africa will be home to 1.25 million Christians, which is almost the size of China. Okay, so the world of Christianity is changing. If you think Europe is a Christian continent, think Africa. Okay, there are more. In the 20th century, 95% Christians live in countries there are at least 80% Christians. In the 21st century, there are only 59%. 27 go to 53. So Christians are spread out. When we talk about Christian nations, it's no longer, the world become more diverse, that's all we are saying. The world become more diverse. Okay? But the good news is church or congregation continue to grow. In 2017, the number is 5.5 million of church gatherings. Okay? 2025, they say 7.5. 2050, they project 9 million. So God is working, God is bringing people to His kingdom, and we have to participate, join into that work. Because if we don't join, we are going to get left behind, because God keeps on changing and moving. And how the mission field has changed. And this one, I'm sharing with you from a Church Mission Committee's point of view, reading statistics, reading books, reading reports. In February 15, one of our missionary, Eric, will come here share as a field worker his view of the changing mission field. So mark your calendar, February 15, 7:30, we will have a workshop here where Eric will share with us firsthand how the mission field has changed. So anyway, here is what I can find from my references. 1900, 50% of the world was enriched. 2017, 28.4 is reached. So that's good. We're making progress from 50% down to 28.4%. Okay? But we still talk about 2 billion enriched people. That's a lot of people. That's more than what we just talked about 1.25 million in Africa. But one thing we do know, more people in the 1040 window are engaged now. Like the dumb people we have reached. We are working on not reached. Okay? So it means when you start adopt the people movement, they drew out the 1040 window in the world where most unbelievers are, and where most enriched people are. So in that window, people are getting engaged. Missionaries are going. So people are getting to hear the gospel. But the work is not done, they are not reached yet. Now, how do we define reach? I heard one statistics in the last non-congregation meeting. It's 0.3% of the population. It's not, you think that 0.3 is not big, right? But we have 3 million dons in 0.3, yeah, talk about 9,000, we're not there yet. So they are engaged, they have church, they heard the gospel, but they are not reached yet. We still have more work to do. Okay? So, how the mission field has changed. Oh, this is where I want to talk about Eric, the mission field. Okay? So, U.S. still sends the most missionaries. We sent 127,000 in 2010. The next highest is a surprise. It's Brazil. Sent 34,000. And both South Korea and India were also among the top 10. And that tells us something. the sending church are changing in the world also. It's no longer North America and Europe send out missionaries. The people who are becoming Christian are sending out missionaries themselves. That's why Brazil, with a big population, has 34,000. But there's a lot of more interesting statistics. When you measure this by missionary per million church members, the top one is, guess what? Palestine. Palestine sends out 3,401 missionaries per million church member. They are the number one. Number two is Ireland, Malta, and Samoa. South Korea, which we all talk about sending so many missionaries out, they're actually number 5 out of 1,000. It'll be over 1,000 missionaries per million churchgoers. So again, sending missionaries out has nothing to do with church size. It's where you are being called by God to respond. So don't think we have to be a big, stronger church like Saddleback to non-missionaries. You don't have to. You have to respond to God, evangelize, and go for God's kingdom. Okay, in U.S., by that measure, it's only number 9. Even with our 127,000 missionaries, we are number 9. We have so many more Christians. So we're not doing enough. And we have to catch Palestine. Okay? And I did a calculation. If we want to do Palestine, we have to send out 700,000 missionaries, U.S. If we want to overtake Palestine, that number, that's send out over 700,000 missionaries. So we have a lot of work to do as U.S. churches. Oh, it's the wrong way. Okay. What has not changed? Most missionaries continue to go to mostly Christian nations. Okay, we read this who adopted the dons 25 years ago. It is still true, still not changed. The top non-missionary receiving countries in 2010 were home to only 3.5 of the world's non-Christians, but received 35% of the missionaries. The top 10 countries with the most non-Christians in 2010 were home to 73% of the world's non-missionaries, but received only 9% of all international missionaries. This is actually an improvement. 25 years ago, number was 3. Okay, so we have done a lot better to send missionaries to where it's needed the most, but we have more to do. Okay? There is no doubt that globalization has changed the world in many different ways because, as I said, our world is changing, so globalization has changed the world. International travel is easier, okay, in general, and also that means a lot to missionaries because it makes mission work a little bit easier. And also, if you need to see a doctor, if you get sick on the field, you can get evacuated much easier. So the world is changing, it's also changing the mission work also. Okay, and goods from the world flow freely from different nations, and it's true. I can get everything I want from U.S. in Shanghai if I want to pay the money. And you know what? What's the most funny thing? When we were in China, one is cereal, and we can't buy them in Shanghai. You pay 3 times the price you paid here. So we don't like it that much. So when my colleagues or vendors coming to China to visit, my company say, what do you want me to bring? Cereals. Okay, so the world is, but the good from the world is flow free. So the world is different. If you have the money, you can almost enjoy anything in the world. And also we have more exposure to different cultures. And it's true. I still can watch the Chinese New Year Eve party here. But even though the quality has gone down a lot, so I don't watch as much. The first 2 years I was in China, it was a must-see. It's just so good. But the world is different, okay? But they have to push back to all the changes also. There's a right of nationalism. We are reading on news right now, Brave exit. That's a sign of nationalism, right? There's a lot of sectarian conflict and wars in many places. They produce refugees, displaced people, okay? And also economic growth, inequality, even in our own country, our society, is producing economically displaced people, like homelessness in our society. The world is changing, the problem is different. But let me something. Oh, okay, I see. Okay. So we are also changed. CBCOC has changed. I reverse the slide. Okay. We have a whole new pastoral team, right? From we started missionary community 30 years ago, more than 30 years ago. We have a whole new pastoral team. We moved to an elder-led system. Our membership are aging. When we started missionary, when we started mission work, we are all in the 30s and 40s, we're all energetic, ready to go for God. But now we are much older, right? So the world is changing. But this is the worst, because I reversed the words. I reversed the slide last minute. The Bible tells us, this is what Moses said to Joshua, is be strong and courageous. Do not be afraid or terrified because of them. For the Lord your God goes with you. He will never leave you nor forsake you. So the world can change, our God does not change. And we have this other verse also. Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. So the world is changing, mission field is changing, our God does not change. That's the good news. And that's the good news we should share with people. Because a lot of people get stressed because of environmental, because of changes in their life. Tell them, there's something that doesn't change, which is our God. And as I said, mission started over 30 years ago. Pastor Ian and I can scratch our head. What year did we start? We can't quite figure it out. We know how to do it, but neither of us have time. Neither him or I have time to look for it. But we know something. I came to the church in 82. We don't have mission community yet. I started Brotherhood in 89. Mission community already started. So somewhere in the 80s, we started mission community. And I was elected first mission committee chairman. At that time, I was younger than Pastor Wang today. When I became mission committee chairman, I was younger. Okay? And I will talk about my experience later. But let me just kind of share with you what our church mission committee has done. Okay, we started mission projects, and we're very strategic. Para, Tijuana, and Skid Row. Skid Row mostly just, I think you did it, but not the whole church as much. The Skid Row project. Yeah. But anyway, this is what we call the one-day project. It's a project we want church people to get involved, to go for one day. Don't ask you can go home, stay on your bed. Just go for one day. That's our one-day project. That's what we said we need one-day project to get church people involved. And then we have short-term mission project, which we have a lot of different ones. We have Navajo, that's one of the first one. Caribbean island group, Chinese diasporas. Honduras, Ken has been leading that for years. Medical mission, Belize, Zoe International, and the individual short-term mission and organization support. We encourage our members to give up 1 to 2 weeks of their time to get involved with mission. So we do mission project. And our goal is the long term. Adopt the people and support higher missionaries. Sending and supporting. That's our mission committee's goal. That's what we do. Okay? And I think we did, and let me just show you who did we send. Okay?